Hi, welcome to this installation video of a new Sony single DIN stereo system into my Corsa 2005 facelift model, replacing the existing CD30 double DIN stereo system that's already installed in the car. There is a great video online by Just Simple Tips on YouTube which goes through the replacement of this stereo within the Corsa 2005 facelift model. However, there was a few bits that I really struggled to see or that I felt weren't covered by the video, so I wanted to try and cover them here to help everybody out. So let's go through what I needed for the installation firstly. So obviously I've got the stereo system itself and then the harness connector that came with it. Everything else I got from an online seller on eBay called Corsa. I'll link to them below. But they sent me an additional 4 parts. One of which was the existing stereo removal tools. They can be seen here. They also sent the silver fascia plate because I've got the silver fascia around my existing Corsa already. So that will be for the blanking plate and to convert from double DIN to single DIN. On top of that as well, I needed an aerial converter. So this aerial converter that you can see here is the PC5137, and on top of that, and finally, was the male to female ISO harness, which is used to connect the existing large block connector that's wired into the car into the harness that comes with the stereo system itself. So that should be everything that you need in order to complete the installation, and as I say, I will link to that eBay seller below. What was covered on the other video was what to do with these 2 wires. So you've got the orange one here, which is the for the illumination, so that can actually just be cut and removed. You don't need that for the installation. However, the red wire, that is required for your switched live. The best place to take that switched live from is actually down here, which is off of the live terminal on the back of the cigarette charger. However, what wasn't covered again that I found on mine was this pink cable here, and I was a bit unsure what to do with that. Again, some research online into the ISO harness indicates that this is a very specific cable for Becker radios. So if you're purchasing one of those, then I suggest you follow the wiki link below in order to understand what to do with this. However, for most installations, this is an optional cable that isn't really required either. So you can afford to ignore this one for most implementations as well. But again, an outstanding question I had was, well, what do I do with this? So I just thought I'd share that with you. And again, I'll share a link below onto the wiki that details more around when you would need to use this cable. However, I think again for most installations it shouldn't be required. Okay, so there's a few people online that are saying that you don't need to actually take the mains feed out from behind the cigarette lighter here. However, what I wanted to do is, before I do anything more, I just wanted to show you that you absolutely do. So this is the stereo now. All I've done so far, to be honest, is remove the old stereo with the removal clips. And then connect the wiring looms up accordingly in order to just to see if this stereo would power on. It won't power on at all at the moment, yet the engine is running, and the reason for that is that we've not actually connected the switched live yet behind the cigarette adapter here, which I've also just pulled out. So we need to connect that switched live in to one of the live feeds that's already powering the cigarette charger here, and until we do that, we're not going to get any power to the stereo unit at all. So again, just really wanted to wire that in like that, just to show that there is a reason to do that. As I say, there's been a few comments I've seen on other feeds from people saying, well, actually they didn't need to. I'm not sure why, but certainly on this 2005 facelift Corsa of mine, you're absolutely going to have to. So I'll move on to that in a second. So having established that we do need to connect the switched main wire into the back of the cigarette charger, all I've done is pull this out and then disconnect the cabling from the back. And as you can see, and you've got there a black wire and a brown wire. Now that black wire is likely to be your switched mains feed, your live. However, I'm going to check that just on a multimeter in order to make sure that it is before I cut that wire. Okay, now I just want to show you what I've done down here in order to connect that live feed. So, as established earlier, the black cable that was going into the back of the cigarette lighter, the cable, I don't know if you can see very well, the cable here, that black cable was the live. So what I've done is I've cut that cable. I've then twisted the a red inline fuse cable, and just connected that, twisted it together with the feed that's coming in. So you can see just here they're twisted together on the feed coming in. I've then put them into a straight through crimper, and then just connected to the other black end to the end of that and crimped it at both sides. So what that means is that black feed still runs all the way through to the cigarette charger, and I've tested that's working no problem. And then coming off of that, I've got the red inline fuse cable. Now, this red inline fuse cable here was something that I purchased online for just £1 or so, and what it does is that feeds all the way into this fuse unit. That fuse unit holds the 10 amp fuse, so you can take that out at any point, but that just protects that circuit. And then coming off the back of that is just the other side of the red cable. What I've then done is I've crimped the inline fuse cable into the feed that runs all the way back up into the stereo. Now I appreciate you could probably do this just by using females directly onto a fuse, but given that this actual fuse holder was only £1, I thought that I might as well buy one of these. So that's how I've connected it up. So all being well, now I'll be able to wire the stereo in, and it should work, and it should hold the presets as well. Hi, so here we are back in the car. I've now put the cigarette charger unit back in place, and fitted the DIN converter surround for the stereo, and then just mounted the stereo, connecting the core connections in the back. As you can see, I've now got power to the stereo, which is great, and audio is working perfectly well. Can also confirm that the presets that I've just programmed in are there, and then if I turn the engine off and start it again, it should hold those presets as well. So I'll just turn the engine off now, give it another start. And there we go, presets working perfectly, and that's it. The Sony stereo installed into the Corsa C Facelift model 2005. Hopefully that wiring, or that close-up of the wiring should I say, was useful for you, and if you've got any questions please comment below and I'll do my best to assist. Thank you.